In loving memory of Adam Booby Khalees Hilaire. I am Adam's mom. Adam was better known by the family and friends as Booby. My life would never be the same. The night my son Angel called me at work and told me that Booby was found dead. I died that night as well. I pray no one has to go through what I suffered as a mother by losing my son Booby. I was supposed to leave this world before my child. The pain is so heart-wrenching. I try my best not to show my real inner feelings. Try to be strong for my family and friends. I don't let anyone see me crying. I also hide my feelings out in public. No one knows my true feelings, that I am dying inside. I'm supposed to die before my child.
Hi, my name is Tammy Mills, and I am LaJaya's grandmother. Adam was like a son to me. He was a very good father to LaJaya. His smile was contagious, and his daughter has it too. I loved his passion for sports. He loved basketball and football. His favorite team was the Seminoles. We had many friendly arguments over the games between the Noles and the Gators. I remember when he would go out, he would always make sure his shoes matched his outfit, and he did the same for Jaya. She doesn't have the joy of playing with her daddy or going special places with him anymore. She would light up when he would pick her up for the weekend visits. Since his death, I've watched her pull back from her happy, carefree, playful self into a quiet, withdrawn little girl. She has an emptiness that can't be filled, no matter how hard she tries. She's my world, and I knew that nothing could bring Adam back. But maybe, I'm sorry, can't see it. Nothing could bring Adam back. That's all I have.
Booby left a big footprint on not only my life, but everyone he met. He had the biggest smile and would brighten up any room. He was an amazing uncle figure to my son, who was only 4 at the time we lost his Uncle Booby. He was always there for me and my son when we needed him, and I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss just being able to sit on the back porch and talk with him and my son Junior play. If I would have known the last time I seen him would be the last time, I would have hugged him a little tighter and a little longer. A beautiful person inside and out is gone and left a hole here in everyone's heart. I will always love you, Booby. Rest easy, my friend. Booby strong.
He asked me for my new number with plans of getting back into training together. I handed him my business card with my info and my picture on it, and his eyes lit up and his jaw dropped. He started jumping up and down and waving the card, saying, "My boy got a business card. My boy's got a business card." He grabbed me with the biggest smile and bright eyes and said, "Bubba, you made it. You made it." I couldn't have been more happier. I couldn't have been more uplifted and happy in that moment if I had won the lottery. But that's who Booby was. And that's how I'll always remember him. The world could use a little bit more Booby in it. Booby and Miss Anna.
It's important. It's absolutely important. We can't lose sight in these cases, in these trials, about ultimately, what was lost and what was taken. And here, the first jury's already spoken, so we know who's responsible. Now the question is, what should happen to him? Let's bring in our guest. Joining us, Court TV crime and justice reporter Joy Lim Nakrin is at the courthouse. And in West Palm Beach, Florida, the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Arenberg, is with us as well. Joy, this emotion inside the courtroom, from my perspective, you tell me what it was like there, painting a picture and bringing to life a life that was taken, Adam Hilaire.
Absolutely, very impactful. I saw one juror struggling to hold back tears during this. I saw another juror continually looking at the defendant to gauge his reaction. And it was pretty clear that they were moved by what they heard up there today.
Were there any moments where this, and you said you were looking over at they were looking at the defendant. Did the defendant do anything through any of this? Was he moved by any of it? Did he understand a little bit more about what was taken here?
You know, Vinny, it's always hard to try to gauge someone else's emotion, especially for a defendant. But I noticed him looking down a lot, as if he was kind of ashamed to face this reality. And at times, I would say he actually looked remorseful. So we'll see how that plays out for his fate. Absolutely.
And, you know, could serve him to get up there and show some remorse and take some responsibility. It always helps in front of a jury if you do that. Dave Arenberg, the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. Let's talk about the importance of hearing these types of statements. And obviously, jurors are not supposed to be swayed by emotion. We get it. To me, it's more of a fact-finding mission, finding the fact that Adam Hilaire was someone. Adam Hilaire is someone who will be missed. Adam Hilaire is someone who was extremely important in the lives of all these people.
Yeah, Vinny, it is important. It's important to show what's called the spark of life, that the victim is more than just a statistic, more than just a still photo, more than just a description of him as a guy who liked different types of hats. He was a loving father. He apparently touched the lives of so many that even his girlfriend's family was there to testify how much he meant to them. And I think it's important not just to talk about Adam Hilaire, but to keep referring to him as Booby, because apparently those who knew him and loved him never referred to him as Adam. He was Booby. And that's something that needs to come across to jurors. This is a different jury than the jury that heard the evidence from the guilt phase. And so you're really trying to bring them up to speed as fast as possible. They're not as invested in the individuals in this case as the first jury was. And that's why it's important here more than normally to use the spark of life to humanize the victim. And I think that's going to go a long way. And mind you, by the way, Vinny, the defendant gets a chance to do the same. And it's going to be up to him to show some remorse, or else he could get the death penalty.
Absolutely. I mean, the picture that's been painted is absolutely heartbreaking of a young dad begging for his life. And it's all, I mean, Joy, can you go through it one more time? I mean, what was this crime all about? This was like a robbery, right? It was a simple robbery, and they're not holding up I mean, they're not stealing millions of dollars here. It's over a few silly things that they stole.
Yeah, you know, TVs, the hats, Xbox, and here's the really, really disturbing element that they stole: a gold bracelet, a charm bracelet that belonged to his little 5-year-old daughter, said "Daddy's girl" on it. So when you couple that with the fact that then he was begging for his life, not just for his own life, but saying, you know, I want to be there for my 5-year-old girl. When he was shot to death, I mean, those are some really tough facts. And then you add on to it that, you know, according to the state, the defendants then, you know, drank the liquor that they stole from his apartment and then mocked him for begging for some mercy. And it's pretty tough for a jury to listen to that and not be moved, especially after they heard today how much he meant to his family, his friends, and his community. Even the maternal grandmother of his daughter, who, you know, he'd already broken up with the mother, right? But still maintained that relationship. It spoke very highly of him.
Absolutely. The defense did start presenting their case. Let's listen to Michael Knox, who was called as a crime scene reconstructionist and consultant. Let's take a listen to what the defense brought in front of this jury today.
Now, is there anything about your review of the physical evidence that you see that would lead you to conclude that Mr. Hilaire would not have been down on both knees?
Well, the a couple of things here is that based upon where he is and the way that he's fallen, and let me just kind of explain, when a person gets shot and is immediately incapacitated, unlike what you see in the movies, the bullet doesn't like cause people to go flying through the air or spinning around or things like that. That the driving factor is all in which way your body is leaned. So if I'm standing perfectly straight up like this, suffered a immediately incapacitating gunshot wound, then what is typically going to happen is my body's going to drop straight to the ground. If I am leaning in a particular direction, so let's say I'm leaning forward when that happens, because I'm already off balance that way, then I would fall forward. If I were leaning back, I would tend to fall back. And that's entirely independent of the direction that the bullet comes from. And I actually, when I teach, I show videos demonstrating that. So given the body positioning, then the indicators are that he would be, at the time of it, his balance is leaning forward. Not necessarily greatly, but enough that that would be the natural tendencies for his body to fall forward at that point. One thing to note here is that where the feet are positioned is that this right shoe, that the shoe itself is turned flat on the ground with the foot on top of it. And that would be a position that's would mean that the foot would generally have been pointed downward. If he's immediately incapacitated, he doesn't move anymore on his own, and he just falls forward, then his foot wouldn't turn down. So that means that the foot was likely in some kind of position like that, not
Like planted.
it would be planted in some way.
So, Joy, it seems the defense, part of their attack here is they're not conceding that he was on his knees begging for his life when he was shot. They're going to try to undermine that, at least here with some expert testimony.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're not denying it either when pressed on cross. Of course, the state said, well, he had one foot planted. That doesn't mean he wasn't kneeling, right? You could have one foot planted and the other one is the other knee is bent. And, they got him to admit, despite everything that you're saying, it doesn't exclude the fact that he could have been on his knees begging for his life. But certainly most of the afternoon, it was the defense on direct examination asking Michael Knox, this firearms expert, this crime scene investigator, a series of questions basically meant to show that we can't really determine conclusively what position Adam Hilaire's body was in when he was shot to death. We can't determine with precision that he was actually shot at close range. And so we heard this expert go through a great amount of detail about stippling and soot and blood splatter and shell casing and all of these elements to the point where actually one juror seemed to be nodding off, apparently found some of this tedious. But it is going to be central to the defense because, of course, the state is trying to show that this crime was especially heinous and cruel, and that it was also cold-blooded and premeditated and planned. And part of painting that picture is getting the jury to believe that poor Adam Hilaire was on his knees, shot execution style at close range from the back of his head, begging for his life.
All right, our coverage continues. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Joy Lim Nakrin down in Polk County, Florida. Thank you so much. Dave Arenberg's going to stay with us.